Welcome back. Now, in a big boost to India's defence arsenal, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has commissioned India's first ever indigenous aircraft carrier, INS Vikrant, at a special ceremony in Kochi. Called as in fact India's largest warship, INS Vikrant is built at a cost of 20,000 crore rupees. The Prime Minister called the warship a vibrant symbol of Indian pride.
आत्मनिर्भर होते भारत का अद्वितीय प्रतिबिंब है विक्रांत। आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव का अतुलनीय अमृत है विक्रांत। आईएनएस विक्रांत पर हो रहा ये आयोजन विश्व क्षितिज पर भारत के बुलंद होते हौसलों की हुंकार है।
It's victorious, it's valiant, it's Vikrant. India has got its second aircraft carrier and Vikrant has edged its place in history once again. The original Vikrant had played a stellar role in the India-Pakistan War of 1971. It had helped liberate Bangladesh, and that is the legacy that the new Vikrant has to live up to. But at birth itself, the new INS Vikrant has created history because it's a symbol of Atmanirbhar Bharat. The ship behind me has been created from scratch at the Cochin Shipyard, from where we are reporting at the moment. Right from the steel to the fittings, to the hull, to the electrics, to the mechanics, everything is Swadeshi in nature. And that is what the Prime Minister emphasized when he dedicated INS Vikrant to the country when it was commissioned. What the Prime Minister said is that the need of the hour is not just to showcase India's might as far as its military prowess is concerned, but also ensure that balance of power. At a time when China is flexing its muscles in Indian Ocean region, we've seen the war of words over Sri Lanka's port where the Chinese ship was dogged. We've also seen the ongoing tension at the line of actual control in Ladakh. And in that backdrop, for India to ensure that China gets the message of Vikrant was required. That's what the Prime Minister's message too was, but that's not the only reason why Vikrant has created history. It has compartments for women sailors as well. Women in defense forces have always been a sticky issue. So in that sense also, Vikrant is creating history. It has been commissioned, but will get operational only next year when all the air assets are tested and tried. But already you can see behind me fully loaded MiG-29Ks and helicopters are there to give you a sense of what this mighty aircraft carrier would mean when it sails like a queen with its fleet fully armed into the sea.
Right, so a proud moment there for the Indian Navy. But moving forward, the Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme was one of the most significant announcements that we saw during the peak of the COVID lockdown. Now, almost 2.5 years since then, and with regular changes in the scheme, Sapna Das looks at its performance in this report card and tries to figure out if some of the subsets of the scheme have in fact outlived their existence. Sapna, over to you.
There have been 4 versions of the ECLGS so far, and altogether the government has guaranteed loans worth 5 lakh crores. But as of August, the scheme still has a headroom of over 1 lakh crores in unused guarantees. There is also a wide gap of approximately 86,000 crores between sanctions and disbursements, which indicates that actual demand for such kind of guaranteed loans is not uniform. And industry has not availed the facility in all the categories as was probably expected. For instance, ECLGS 2.0 was announced in November 2020 specifically for the 26 sectors under stress due to COVID. These sectors were chosen as per the recommendations of the KV Kamath panel. It also included aviation, hotels, restaurants and tourism, the sectors most hit by the pandemic. But so far, including all the extensions, total amount of guaranteed loans availed under ECLGS 2.0 is less than 21% of the guarantees given by the government in total, with sectors like real estate and textiles being the major beneficiaries. ECLGS 3.0 has even fewer takers, specifically designed for sectors like civil aviation, hospitality, travel and tourism, and sports and leisure. This was first announced in March 2021, almost 1 year after the nationwide lockdown, but before the disastrous Delta wave. However, offtake under ECLGS 3.0 has been almost negligible at less than 4%. the Finance Minister has increased the allocation for this scheme by around 50,000 crores in the budget. However, total offtake stands at less than 12,000 crores. Why has the offtake been poor under this window? Well, the COVID waves have become less life-threatening, especially with the vaccination drive gaining momentum. So businesses and cash flow for these sectors has been picking up, even if the recovery has been a little sluggish. But restaurants and hotels have asked the government to simplify the application process and tweak the eligibility criteria to make it less restrictive. We now come to the mother scheme that was announced in May 2020 and subsequently enhanced by over 1 lakh crores in June last year as a response to the Delta wave. A whopping 76% of the government guaranteed loans under the overall ECLGS have been registered under this window, with government guarantees touching almost 2.70 lakh crores. Interestingly, most of the beneficiaries under this scheme are from the trader community and entities that belong to textile, service sector and food processing. One of the key reasons for the success of ECLGS 1.0 was that it was announced at the height of the nationwide COVID lockdown, and it specifically targets micro and small enterprises. Now, with 1.5 lakh crore worth of guarantees still available, there has been some speculation as to another extension of this scheme. But this may not be on the cards. The government is generally of the opinion that despite the economic recovery being slow and uneven, there is still a recovery. And so, keeping the scheme alive beyond the financial year end may not be warranted. A final call, of course, will be taken by the Finance Minister in her next budget.
Right, Sapna, thanks a lot for that. But with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Business 360. Thanks so much for watching. News and updates will continue right here on CNBC TV 18.